Something gave a weird feeling to it and I didn't know what it was. Breanne, during the time when the whole conference happened, I didn't see her in any of the rooms. And she came out from a back room with Miss Karen Rose. Hi, and welcome back. My name's Deneen. You can call me D. I'm an astrologer and I teach people the psychology behind marketing. And actually, I wanted to come and talk to you guys today about why it is that I am not open to collaboration at this time. I will be open to collaboration during the summertime, but I am not at this time, okay? You guys, there was a woman that I worked for when I first started out, and especially when I just came out as an astrologer, okay? I was doing astrology and I was doing astrology for a long period of time before I switched over my business and before I sat there and I openly came out about me doing astrology, okay? So that's number one, okay? Number two, I worked for Miss Karen Rose at her herbalism conference. I was invited there by a woman called Breanne, okay? Manipulation of process, they're good at what they do. So they send a link first through the phone, and then when you click on the link, they actually have a meeting with you, to which they ask you to send a proposal, to which I did. And that's the first step. Now, Miss Breanne, I purchased tea from her. I was supposed to purchase tea, but I never got that from the young fraudster, okay? And during that time, that's when I knew that, you know, these are not real people. But also during that time when I was invited last minute, so I couldn't get all the materials that I needed for me to do what it is that I needed to do. On top of that, I chopped the price down for them. And three, I was very much engaged in everything that was happening, the whole event, everything. I didn't eat any of the food, like at all. Something gave a weird feeling to it and I didn't know what it was. And Breanne, during the time when the whole conference happened, I didn't see her in any of the rooms. And she came out from a back room with Miss Karen Rose. And now, while I had been informed to get out of there, and that's exactly what the freak I did, was got out of there, I didn't know what the whole reason for that was, and I very much did not feel welcomed in that place. So I wanted to say all of that to say that, one, these people are not who you think they are, and two, that was a very eye-opening experience for me, because after that I thought that that was over, that would be the end of that. And I actually gave her a lot of time for her to come and address this matter, address this just point blank period, and she never did. So after all of that happened, I started to find out that she was copying my work verbatim. Yes, and I actually have footage of this. Roll the clips.
And I talk in the book about mirror work. A really good time to do some reflection work with a mirror.
Yes, so as she's sitting here and she's copying my work, okay, because she has never mentioned mirror work at any point in time, nor has she been on her YouTube channel actually making videos until I started back making videos. So I really don't condone this type of behavior. I think stolen shoes will burn your feet. And I also do think that as a person who is supposed to be an authority figure, that you would use your responsibility instead of using your authority to mishandle somebody my age. Somebody who you're 3 times my age, okay? And if you are the OG, okay, literally the old granny, OG that you say you are, then you shouldn't have to steal anybody's work. And also too, I wanted to say something to you, teacher to teacher, because if you teach somebody like Breanne, who is supposed to be your student, how it is to engage in these practices, and she mishandles and she misuses these practices to target another person, and you on top of that, knowing that she's doing that, sits there and backs her.
This time, and the thing that is so very necessary right now with this moon is a spiritual cleanse. I generally don't get on here and recommend right away that we do a spiritual cleanse, but in this moon, we're definitely going to need to do some releasing. And the releasing is really regards to the spiritual parasites that we've been carrying, the things that have been attached to us energetically, or the subconscious things that are now coming to the surface that are very much about energetic heaviness. That are the most important spiritual parasites that come up during Pisces season is the parasite of victimhood. Why is this happening to me? It always happens to me this way. I can never, I always, these things are always showing up. These people are always showing up, doing this thing to me.
What type of teacher does that make you? I wanted to come out and tell you this all, you guys, very much earlier. But when I figured out what was going on and the severity of which she would go to copy me, I had to think smarter. And so I put myself out there. I sat here and I made videos for months in order for you to see the type of treatment and who all was involved, because I knew that they wouldn't talk if they knew that I was looking, okay? So part of the problem and part of the issue is that nobody wanted to chin check this lady, like, at all. She's been in this industry and she's been doing this for quite a while. And Breanne, at the time when all of this was happening, she was actually backed up on orders, backed up on a lot of orders. I wonder what the reason for that is. And on top of me finding all of this out, when I found all of this out, actually directly after I found all of this out, they had moved locations. They had moved locations. Okay, so where they originally were in Miss Wheatsville, Mr. Wheatsville, I think Wheatsville is the place, just period. Okay, they were no longer there. They had to move. And I felt that was so strange. And on top of that, I think what is really the most compelling thing to me about this is that Karen Rose is a woman who, from her own words, sat there and told me herself during the conference that she was abused. So for her to go above and beyond to abuse another person who is in a state or condition to where I could not properly take care of all the things that I needed to take care of for myself when it pertained to my health, and I went out to ask for help, you misused and you mishandled that help, and then you try to take advantage of my kindness, and then you try to steal from me. There's no amount of you're wrong. There's no amount of you have no integrity. There's no amount of, if you're a teacher and you're supposed to be teaching somebody and that's supposed to be your student, you're supposed to hold them accountable. And you didn't do any of that. I never received that money back. And that was a lot of money to sit there and pay for a tea that you never got when you're as sick as you are. And on top of that, I felt very much discriminated against when I was speaking to Miss Breanne, for the simple fact that when we spoke about astrology, I spoke about human design. And her whole mood changed from that. Her whole mood changed from that. And that was a very much learning experience for me. That was a very big pivotal point in my life. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't just sit there and go and tell you guys what happened, but I could actually show you with evidence. So of course I compiled receipts, okay? And it's weird because of all the things that they're out there saying and all the things that are out there of them saying this, that they would be these types of women, okay? And that was very eye-opening for me. I wanted to inform other people because I have compiled a list. I have been watching a lot of people, okay? And it's not just me watching a lot of people. When I came to the place that is the Herbalism conference and I was informed about what was going on and I immediately left, I know that there was other people that was involved. And I know that there were other people that was sitting there watching and waiting for things to happen or, dare I say, occur, okay? And also, you guys, I feel like this needed to be a public occurrence. I don't know if she has Pluto in her 10th house, but I felt like this needed to be a public occurrence for the simple fact that behind closed doors and behind things like agreements, somebody will try to assassinate your character. They will try to discredit your character and they will try to defame you, okay? And usually a lot of people don't know this, but I am a direct marketer. I really don't care for the internet as much as most people would at my age. I'm very much was trained to directly speak to somebody, to directly do things with people, to directly take part in projects, to directly train people, recruit people. So for me to come online and have to do this online, this was a very big switch for me. But I also felt like if I didn't say anything, I will also be putting myself or placing myself in that same boat of me being an astrologer who wouldn't check another astrologer, which is crazy, number one. Especially when people say that they're from Brooklyn and all these other places and that they know the things that they know. It's very crazy. But also on top of that, it was very alarming for me the way that people had reactions, especially about things that they did not know. And even on top of that, knowing that some of these people know these people and they were willing to back them and cover for them and sit here and try to defame and discredit my character. So I wanted to come up here and be very much vigilant and be very much direct. I want that to be the first and the last time that anyone ever has their name, my name, in their mouth. Period. I don't come up here and I don't sit up here and talk about people. I don't come up here and I don't sit up here and copy other people's work. Everything that you see me speak about and everything that you see me do has been from things that I have seen people go through firsthand. This is not something that's light. This is not something that's easy. I've seen people who have been kidnapped. Do you understand me? This is not light. This is not easy. So when I come up here and I present something, I'm doing it because I actually care. I'm doing it because it's not just fun. I'm passionate about what I do. And for somebody who's passionate about what they do, and for somebody who learned from people who's also passionate about what they do, I would expect and I would have at least admired if anyone, especially an astrologer who was in a position of authority, a position of power, for you to sit there and speak up when you know and you've known that this woman has been doing this behind closed doors. Because there were people that knew. There were people that knew. And there was also a lot of people that was affected who, because of them not having position, because of them not having status, they would not speak. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not easily scared. I'm not easily deterred. You can ask anybody in my life, because if you mess with them, sweetheart, I don't care what's going on. I'm coming through the ceiling because I will find you and I will get to you. Do you understand me? Now, in clearing the air, I also wanted to remind you that by stealing another person's work, you're actually not doing the work that you should be doing or the work that you should have done when you've had contact with all these families. Also, on top of that, I've never heard you speak, again, as I will say, of mirror work at all. If you feel like the people who you are in contact with, the people who are your colleagues, the people who you call your equals, do not have what it is that you need for you to improve, that means that you have to improve. And also from a woman, from her own words, who has talked about being abused. From a woman like Breanne, who is a chef, who was a chef, and also has talked about women in service not being properly taken care of.
And we need more eyes on our work. We need more people understanding that service workers are literally starving to death, and particularly our Black and brown sisters.
To just being in an industry that really showed a lot of inequities, and especially for me, being a young woman at the time, I was just 22 years old, and it was a lot to deal with on top of already a stressful environment. That being said, I ended up walking away from working in restaurants.
And for you to sit there and put a person in that position, that shows how much you truly care. That also shows what your true values are. But I think more importantly, especially since I gave you guys time, that very much shows your character. And that's not something that I will easily forget. And also being able to do this publicly and show these people what has happened and went on publicly. You're able to go back and check for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Go ahead and check for yourselves. See for yourself. The post that I always made and always had up is still on my page. And all the things that I have started since I have been doing these videos, you can go back and check through any other person's videos that you would suspect, and you can find what it is that you're looking for. Okay? If you feel like you are who you say you are, you don't need nobody to back you. If your character changes because of your circumstance or your situation, you're not who you say you are. And that's just the end of that. Now, one last thing. I did this the way that I did this because I wanted you guys, the astrologers, to be the ones who would have to sort this out amongst yourselves, because I would actually be on the outskirts, which I am because you guys have obviously put me here, or have tried to put me here, I should say, right? Now, tricks are for kids. I'm not one of them, okay? And you might have done this to a lot of people, Miss Karen Rose, but you won't be able to do this to me. I'm just not that person, especially me from the city. We don't do that here, ever. So, that being said, I've been trained by a lot of people, a lot of old heads, as we would say, but a lot of people who are very mature, a lot of people who are very much passionate about what they do, and I want to give back. That's what I do, okay? That's what I love doing, and anybody who seeks to degrade that or discard that, I don't like that, period, point blank, okay? And you have two options. You could either apologize or you can send the addy and at me, but either way, you do have to own up to your mistakes, and everybody makes mistakes. I gave you the time to sort this out with me behind closed doors. You did not do that, and now we have to bring this publicly, okay? Because this needs to be known, and also too, I will not be played with. I'm not the person to play with, and you would do well to remember that. I love and appreciate you guys all the time. I appreciate everybody who are subscribed to me and everybody who comes to the channel. Yes, I know who comes to the channel too, okay? But everybody who comes to the channel, I appreciate you so much. And I will be seeing you guys next time. Alright? Remember, stolen shoes will burn your feet. Alright? That's it. Bye.